What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Virzi Effect podcast show. You guys are listening to the last episode. I don't know, 638, 639, 64, whatever it is. You guys are listening to the last episode. I know I told you guys that the last one was the last one, but through everything that we're doing and the new podcast coming out, this will be the last Virzi Effect ever. But this one is going to have some updates. We're going to reminisce a little bit. Okay. And I just want to let you guys know how grateful I am. And we're going to talk about everything that happened on this show. The good news is end of April, we are launching Paul's Best Podcast. I told you guys about it. And we are getting episodes in. Some of you guys have seen the new studio in New York City. It's going to be me and a guest just having a great time talking about the best of things. Okay. And it's going to be amazing. The guests are going to be amazing and fun. You know, yeah, you'll have me talk shit and I'll have my things here and there. We're also got the email, Paul Virzi email at Gmail. You could send in questions or things like that. We'll go through that. We'll talk to you guys that way. Okay, so there is definitely going to be a lot of things that you do get here from the Virzi Effect, okay? But then me and the guest are going to talk about all the positive best of things, whether it's restaurants, whether it's toys, whether it's video games, whether it's sneakers, whether it's stories on the road, drinking and all that. And we're putting it together, and it's going to be with some of your favorite not only just comedians, but people in entertainment, influencers, people online. It's just going to be great conversations, and I think you guys are going to really love it. So please go. In the meantime, go to my YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button, guys, and watch all Virzi Effects, and then transitioning into Paul's Best Podcast, which is going to be coming out soon. So had so much fun. I was actually thinking about all of the craziest moments on the show, which I definitely want to talk about. And the show has had a lot of different eras and stages. I've stuck with it since, I believe, 2010. So we're talking about 15 years of me just talking shit, 98% time on alone, or 95% of the time alone. And then there's probably maybe 100 episodes with a guest. I don't know. But it's helped me with stand-up. It's helped me connect with you guys. And speaking of connecting with you guys, before we get into the show, guys, check me out this week. This week, I will be performing two shows, one in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania on Thursday. Okay, this Thursday night, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the Improv. We added it late, so we need people to get tickets, okay? It's a big room, and we added the show late. They were like, oh, maybe we should cancel because we added it so late. Maybe there's not enough time when the date came in. I was like, you know what? Nah. Keep it. I'm working the new hour. Pittsburgh's been great to me, so I'll be there this Thursday at the Pittsburgh Improv. Friday, I'm at the, and Joe Bartnick will be, Pittsburgh's own Joe Bartnick will be with me. Also, Pittsburgh's own Bill Crawford will be with me. Hosting will be Pittsburgh's own Aaron Kleber. He's hosting the show. He'll be with us. And then Bartnick is coming with me the next night, Friday night. I will be doing two shows at Hilarity's Cabaret Room. It's the smaller room at Hilarity's, and I'm working my new hour there. We're only 2 hours from Pittsburgh. We figure let's do Pittsburgh and Cleveland. That's this week, March 20th and 21st, guys. So get tickets to that. Next week, Tempe, Arizona. One show only at the Tempe Improv Thursday night. Get your tickets now. It's going to be a blast. And then the next day, the 28th and 29th, I am in San Diego at Mic Drop Comedy Club. And then on the way home, I am stopping back home for Denver Comedy Works, one of the best clubs in the country. Then we have Portsmouth, New Hampshire at the Music Hall Lounge on April 10th. April 11th and 12th, I will be at Roar Comedy Club and Casino in Massachusetts. And April 25th, I will be at the Town Crier in Beacon, New York. More shows are coming. We are adding more shows. May 1st, Stanford Comedy Club, New York Comedy Club in Stanford, Connecticut. All the shows, paulvirzi.com. Come out and check me out, guys. Check out Reasonable Man right now. It is streaming on YouTube. My Netflix special is either going to be going to Punch Up Live or my YouTube, and same with my Comedy Central. We don't know which yet, but you're going to have availability for all of my shit, and I can't wait for you guys to have it. There you go. Check those things out. I'm done plugging. Let's talk about the show. The Virzi Effect podcast started out, I want to say one of my first episodes ever was the story about the police officer who pulled me over in North Carolina, made me get out of the car and then get in his car. And I was scared shitless. He had a t-shirt on that said police, but he was in a state trooper car. I thought the guy was going to kill me. He had that good old boy look. Like, yeah, I'm gonna fucking rape him and then kill him and put him in the woods, and I'm just gonna say he was running drugs from New York and nobody knows where he went. I mean, I don't know, but it was scary as shit, and that was one of the first times that I spoke about a real story, and I didn't know what I was doing. The podcast was like 20 minutes long, and then it evolved into the unacceptables, if you guys remember. The unacceptables, where the fuck is my? The unacceptables were anything that happened in your life during the day that was unacceptable that you want to talk about. Kind of what me and Bobby Kelly are doing now with Bone to Pick. But I would have you guys write in, and there was some amazing ones. There were some really, really amazing ones. The two that stick out, of course, I have to shout out the Shakespeare of shit himself, Kelly Meyer, my friend now, fan turned friend. And he would write in about these crazy, crazy IBS stories that he had because he has bad IBS. And he would tell these stories about shit in his pants at sporting events and stuff. And he would write it so eloquently, and we would just cry laughing about it. So that was a memory. The unacceptable to me that stands out the most out of all of the unacceptables, and I know some of you new TVE listeners don't even know about this. So you got to go back and listen to the unacceptables. Okay, look, I just found this poster here. See, unacceptable TVE, the Virzi Effect podcast. And I don't know why I didn't get that right. Like there. Anyway, people would write in their unacceptables, and it started to become a popular segment on the show. And if I had to pick one of the unacceptables, and there was a couple, man, that were like, what? But the one that sticks out to me the most, the ultimate prize winner for unacceptables for TVE to me is the Uber driver who, or like either the Uber driver or the taxi. I think it was an Uber driver. And the woman came out and she strapped her son or daughter who was in a baby seat. It was a baby car seat. This was a child. This was a baby, a toddler. Um, and she strapped the baby in the back seat, and the Uber driver thought she was going to get in the back seat next to the baby, and she didn't. She just handed the Uber driver an address and said, "Take my baby here." And she just went inside, and this guy had like a 45-minute ride with a baby. I guess I don't know if it was to the father or whatever. And we were like, dude, you got to report this chick. It was like, it went from a funny, unacceptable to like, no, this is like, this child is in danger here. That was one that we were like, holy shit. But then there were ones where people would show up into like restrooms at restaurants, and like one guy called a guy out on his unacceptable, and another guy was like, yeah, I listened to the Virzi Effect too. So all of these cool things happen with the show. I think that the time traveler, if I'm really being honest here, I think the time traveler story of the Virzi Effect is probably the best episode as far as keeping people, like, it was one of those things where, like, when you listen to good radio and you're like, holy shit, that can't be true. But the one where I was in Arizona and I saw what I thought was a time traveler, and I told the story, and then other people reached out to me saying that they saw the same shit. And look, nobody knows what it was, but I just know that that episode of the show was really kind of, there's just been amazing episodes of this show, and it is all because of you guys watching it. And that's all I could be is myself on the show. So, I'm not, you guys know me, and that's really, excuse me, that's really what the show is just me being me. I'm not a guy that's in a lot of circles. I'm not a guy that's, I don't do the other shit. Like I'll go on podcasts, but I'll go on podcasts, when I want to go on and on my terms and when I'm plugging something and when it's with friends and stuff. So, and maybe that hurts me, but it just is what it is. I'm not a guy to do some of the other things. So it's basically like my voice from my own thing. And you guys have been really amazing. And my fans that know me have always been amazing. And that's why I continue to do the show. The Virzi effect always steadily grew. It never became like a top comedy podcast, but it never was in the gutter. It was always moving up. It was always kind of, moving on the rise. It was always growing. Sponsors were always coming and going because the show stayed there steadily. And it's because of you guys. It was a lot more audio numbers than YouTube. YouTube came after COVID and doing the studio, building this studio because of COVID, this little nook that I have here in my house. But it's been so much fun to come on here, rant, rave, talk shit, and now be able to take things to another level where you guys still get to see me. And Paul's Best Podcast, there may be an episode where it is just me doing this, but it's going to be a more specific niche type of show. That's what I wanted to do. That's what's popular these days, as the kids say. But no, I just wanted to kind of do something like where it was like the time goes by fast because you're talking about specific things. And if there's somebody that you want me to talk about or talk to about certain things, like, oh, I'd love to hear you and so talk about the best of this, reach out and let us know because we're getting everybody. The first few are going to be absolute bangers that I think are going to be huge. And I can't wait for you guys to see that as well. But no, this show, I grew up with this show. I became a better comedian with this show, talking shit, learning how to use that muscle with no feedback. I didn't even know sometimes the things I was saying were funny, and people would reach out and be like, dude, I'm at my cubicle crying, and I would have to go back and listen back. I would say something about my kids, and people were like, yo, that's a joke for your set. And I never even knew, the way I still don't know how to use the camera, still don't know how to use a camera. This camera's not set to like stop getting blurry. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, guys. All I know is how to turn it on and talk into a microphone. It's the same thing with what is this guy? What is this now? I'm available, let me know. Yo, what time I'm available, let me know. Whatever. I don't know what the fuck, guys. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. You know that. Anyway, a lot of sports talk, a lot of sports arguing, a lot of venting about the New York Knicks on here. It's kind of fitting that, like, as the TVE podcast comes to an end, the Knicks are a top 5 NBA team. So so there you go. There's something with that. I don't know if they're going to win it all, but the fact that they're not the laughing stock and I don't have to be stressful, that's kind of ironic and cool, I think. What else? The Giants have become now the Giants have become the Knicks, so I could kind of take that over to the next podcast. And yeah, it's been I believe I did my first show of this. I want to say December of 2010 or December of 2011. You guys can probably let me know even more. And I started this literally knowing nobody except a couple of people in the business. And now it's gotten to this place and I'm not gonna say I'm not sad though. Like that's the cool thing. That's when you know it's time to go. This is not sad. This is not, oh my God, no, this is like, no, we evolved now. TVE gave a nice foundation of what I'm trying to do, and it gave a nice show for you guys. And now we're gonna go over to a bigger, better podcast, and hopefully you guys know me a little better. And if you're new to the show, go back and listen to some other ones, man. There was some really cool, really funny episodes where I was just crying, laughing about things. I even did the one where I was reading my journal when I first started comedy. I remember Stavros Halkias, shout out to Stavi. He reached out going, dude, I loved listening to the podcast when you were reading your journal entries. That's on here. And it was like journal entries of like when I like started to meet people and get going. So again, I'm not trying to be sappy or sentimental. This is all positive shit, but this is a thank you to you guys because I would have never kept turning on the cameras. I would have never kept turning on the microphone and talking shit if if the show was just dying or you guys weren't listening or you guys weren't showing up to clubs because still to this day I get people even though I'm doing so many other things like bone to pick and building up my YouTube and putting out clips and doing all that stuff still people are like, hey man, I love the podcast when you're alone. That's my favorite one when you're alone. I just like listening to Virzi when he's alone. All right, guys, before we continue with the show, we have to shout out our sponsor. It is a great sponsor. We absolutely love them. It is Factor, everybody. Factor meals are the best. Ready to optimize your nutrition this year? Factor has chef made gourmet meals that make eating very easy. They're dietitian approved and ready to heat and eat in 2 minutes, which is really simple, right in the microwave. And so you get fuel right and feel great no matter what life throws at you. Factor arrives fresh and fully prepared, perfect for any active, busy lifestyle. Lose up to 8 pounds in 8 weeks with Factor Keto meals based on a randomized controlled clinical trial from Factor Keto. Results will vary depending on the diet and exercise with 40 options across 8 dietary preferences on the menu each week. It's easy to pick meals tailored to your goals. Choose from preferences like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, or Keto. Factor can help you feel your best all day long with wholesome smoothies, breakfasts, grab and go snacks, and more add ons. Reach your goals this year with ingredients you can trust and convenience that can't be beat. That's right. And if you listen to the show, everybody, if you listen to the show right now, you can get a great deal. Guys, we love Factor, by the way. Me and my wife, we eat it all the time. Like I said, the pasta, the chicken breast, the rigatoni, all the meals are delicious. They're restaurant quality. They're fantastic. And you will get a deal if you listen to the show. Eat Smart with Factor. Get started at factormeals.com slash factor podcast and use code factor podcast to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. That's code factor podcast and factormeals.com slash factor podcast to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box, guys. All right, guys, we got another sponsor to talk about before we continue with the show. It is Via, everybody. Thank you to our sponsor, Via. Go to via.co/Virzi and use code Virzi to receive 15% off free shipping on orders $100. And if you're new to Via, get a free gift of your choice, guys. Via is insane, dude. It is CBD with different levels of THC. Okay. I have trouble sleeping. I have back issues. I took their, I believe it was like the blueberry sleep one, and it was insane. I felt relaxed. I slept good, but it's not too much. And it's kind of like a micro dose. Okay, really, really amazing. Life moves fast, and sometimes you need a way to relax, recharge, and stay focused without making things more complicated than they already are. You ever try meditating, but then get stressed out about how bad you are at meditating? Same. That's why I love Via, because they actually make feeling good easy. It's not too much, it's kind of a relaxed, great feeling. Remember when you could function on 4 hours of sleep? Yeah, those days are gone. But don't worry, Via's got something to help you sleep like a log, or at least stop waking up feeling like one. 500,000 happy customers can't be wrong. Via is changing the game in natural wellness, combining high quality hemp deprived ingredients and powerful cannabisoids. Cannabinoids. I mean, I don't know, Andrew. We got to do that again. Uh, cannabinoids. All right, here we go. Ready? Um, 500,000 customers can't be wrong. Via is changing the game in natural wellness, combining high quality hemp derived ingredients and powerful cannabinoids to create to create real effect driven results. Want better sleep, more focus, a little boost in the bedroom. That never hurt anybody. Or maybe you just need to chill out because your stress levels are currently at a screaming into the void status, whatever you need. And here's the best part. Via lets you customize your experience. That's what I did with what I have. Whether you're looking for a daily wellness, laser focus, or deep relaxation, with products ranging from zero to high cannabis levels. Okay, they've got options for everyone. We're talking award winning effect forward gummies to calming drops. All made with organic, lab tested hemp from trusted independent American farms. Guys, it's great. And you don't have to jump through hoops to get some weird doctor's note. Via legally ships nationwide, which is great, right to your door, discreetly, so your nosy neighbors aren't going to know your business. No medical card required, which is great. No sketchy parking lot meetings. Straight to your door with worry-free guarantee. Not sure where to start? No worries. Via has a product finder quiz that will hook you up with the perfect match in less than 60 seconds, which, let's be honest, is less time than it takes to decide what to watch on Netflix. So if you're 21 plus, treat yourself to 15% off and get a free gift with your first order using exclusive code VIRZI. That's VIRZI at viahemp.com. Plus, enjoy free shipping on orders over $100 with viahemp.com. That's VIIAHEMP. VIIAHEMP. Unlock the power of nature with Via's organic and vegan hemp extracts, perfect for relaxation, rejuvenation. Via is the only lifestyle hemp brand. They use compounds found in hemp along with active plant extracts to create products, each with a specific effect in mind. Whether you want to get better sleep, which I do, ease anxiety, which I do, enhance your mood, or just get high, they have something for you. Their products range from zero milligrams to 100 THC. I mean, 100 THC milligrams would put me in a hospital. I'll be foaming at the mouth crying for my wife. But if that's what you do, that's what you do. I do a little less than that. So you guys so they have you covered whether you're looking to microdose or enjoy more potent effects. Industry leader, over 500,000 customers served, made in the U.S., farmed and crafted with care in the United States. Experience our top-notch customer service, sourced from the finest hemp for your peace of mind. This is all great natural stuff, guys. Lab tested and certified premium products that fit your budget. If you're 21 years plus, check out the link at Via in our description and use code VIRZI for 15% off shipping on orders over $100. And if you're new to Via, get a free gift of your choice after you purchase. They ask you where you heard of them. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Enhance your everyday with Via, guys. There you go. So use the code, and there you go. Enjoy. And if you're like me, where you like a little bit of the THC and a lot of the CBD to feel good, there you go. And that always means something to me. And thanks to everybody who came out in Chicago, man. Chicago's been great to me. We did a weeknight. Did not know what to expect. And, times are weird right now with comedy. And a lot of people showed up, and it was just a lot of fun. Talking about the female pilots and Elon Musk doing his little salute. We had a lot of fun, man. So come out to these shows because this is the best new hour that I've been doing for sure. 100%. And then it's nice, we go to but I'm done with the non-relaxing places. We went to the cigar lounge and I loved it. Don't get me wrong, but it was just one of those where there's like a live band in front of the house, like at the bar, and then you go to the back cigar lounge and it's still loud music outside. There was a dude passed out on the couch. There were college kids doing shots. It's like, man, look, if I go to a cigar lounge, and make no mistake, I'm going to do a Paul's Best podcast of cigar lounges slash cigars. Probably have Bobby Kelly or somebody that knows cigars on that one. But from now on, when I go to a lounge, Here's the deal about getting older, and it's the truth. You get older, you don't want people around. You want quiet, you want nice music, but that's low, where you can enjoy a song you like, but still have a conversation, and you don't hear fucking loud shit. You don't hear people yelling. They don't have to have security come in and wake a guy up. I mean, that's like if you're ever at an establishment and there's seats and benches and chairs and a grown adult is sleeping while there's loud music on and people having a festive time, it's just a place you don't want to be. It's just a lower level. I'm not trying to be that guy, but that's where I'm at. That's where I differ. I need a quiet. Speaking of it, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania downtown has a cigar lounge. They give you a charcuterie board. I hope I'm saying a charcuterie board, whatever it is, with the meats and the cheeses. And you get your drinks and old fashions, and they got whiskeys and bourbons and scotch, all that shit. It's calm. They have TVs on with sports, but there's no riffraff in there. There's big leather chairs. They have a nice humidor. You get your cigar. You sit there like a gentleman. You have a nice evening. You call it a night. That's what it is. That's what you have to do. That's what, if this podcast has taught anybody anything, it's don't be a fucking animal. If this podcast has taught anybody anything, don't be an asshole. Okay. Don't be a loud dickhead. Don't throw up when you go to a sporting event. By the way, shout out to the people in Madison Square Garden who helped Tracy Morgan. I saw Tracy Morgan get sick. My buddy was there. My buddy was at the game port side, and they're like, oh, somebody was throwing up, they're cleaning up. Apparently Tracy Morgan, it's all over the papers, it's all over, but Tracy Morgan threw up all over courtside at the game, and then he had a nosebleed and he had to be taken to a hospital, he in a wheelchair. All this shit happened, and apparently they said he had really, really bad food poisoning, and that's what happened, but he's okay today. But so that's not what I'm talking about. You get food poisoning and you're not feeling well and you throw up. That's something. But as far as like going to a sporting event, sitting up there cheering and drinking too many Coors Lights and then throwing up all over the place, this show is anti that. Okay. So I hope this show, this show is about the amenities that we like. We like a calm, nice, non-asshole, you know, not being in a place where a woman is screaming at a bar, you don't know me or what I've been through. That's not, you know, that's not what this is. This is about being chill. This is not this show, if I think this show, another thing that this show taught was regardless of what political side of the aisle you are on, finding some gray, right? It doesn't always have to be black and white. You could see a point on the left, you could see a point on the right, even if you're more one way, but you could put yourself in other people's shoes. That's what I tried to do on this show. You know, that's what I tried to do on this show. And as I move forward and I sit with guests, I'm sure we're going to talk about things like that, and we're not talking about the beginning part where we actually do interviews. We're going to talk about things. And if it comes up, it's just like, look, man, I'm not a show that's going to sit there and argue and say it is this way. It's not this way. I was this, I was that. I'm not doing that shit. I'm not doing that. Bill Maher is trying to be more, I guess in the middle, or trying to, he see the lunacy in certain things that he used to believe. But yeah, I never wanted this show to be that. I hope I did a good job with that looking back. I mean, I know that you guys know I lean a certain way, I'm sure, especially when it comes to financial shit and taxes and all that stuff. But I also like to think that I was fair, and I like to think that I can see people's point of view, and I think people need to be both sides. Everybody just needs to be treated with kindness and respect. And that's really it. That's all you teach your kids to do. Treat unto others as you want done to you, right? That's really what the fuck this is about. I wanted the Virzi effect throughout these years to be something that was kind of down to earth and logical, and an open book for open dialogue and open, normal fucking people. Sometimes you go on these radio shows. I went on Jim and Sam when Jim Norton was there, and they were like, I said something about positive about a politician, and all of a sudden, oh fuck, how could you have this guy on the show? Those people are going to exist. I went on Good Morning Football and I said Mariah Carey was a bigger song than Kelly Clarkson way before Kelly Clarkson ever got big, both literally and figuratively. And it was a great joke. And some people like, never have him on again. And I've realized that there are just certain people that are conditioned to just be brainwashed and fucking dumb morons. Um, and if you listen to this show, I probably could say that you're not like that. The one thing that this show brought me, and again, I'm just going to name this the last Virzi effect ever, or memory lane, Virzi effect, whatever. But the one thing that this show told me was when people did come up to me at my shows and people would say, I love your show, man. You, I feel this way. I feel that way. You nailed it. Like the people that came out to my shows from strictly listening to the Virzi effect were just the coolest, most down to earth people that like-minded people like myself. And I truly, truly did it for that and did it for them. There was never, of course, there's going to be somebody. And I also appreciate the people that listen to the Verzi Effect that didn't necessarily agree with me all the time, but still enjoyed me, enjoyed my comedy, and still came out and still listened. I got to give props to those people too. Because even though those people may feel a certain way or say, oh, I did this, I did that, there were definitely some people that wrote into the show that got upset. Okay. I did one particular episode back in the day. I talked about how I did a benefit or a fundraiser for autism, and there was some audience members. Unfortunately, there were some audience members with Down syndrome. God bless them. And I thought that they were going to be, fine. And I'm getting like heckled by them. So I came on the Verzi effect to do what you do when you're upset or you want to talk, and I vented about it. And some lady was like, I'm trying to get you canceled. How can you do this? And then somebody else wrote in and goes, I have a Down syndrome child, and what you said was completely fine. So there's always going to be those moments too. And that's what the show did for me. And it just let me kind of vent. And even in a weird way, the show kind of let me be a therapist for it was therapeutic for me to just talk about shit, even the unacceptables, to get shit out. That's what we do at Bone to Pick. So you guys can move over to Bone to Pick and Paul's best podcast. But that's what this show was. And this show was the originator of all of those things. But I was gonna not do another episode, and then I'm like, you know what? Let me just close out the show by showing the appreciation to you guys, to just like let you guys know that there were times I'd go to bed after reading comments that were positive about the show, and I would just be like, wow, man, like somebody in fucking Idaho or somebody in Pittsburgh right now, somebody in Croatia right now is listening to me rant and they're agreeing, and that's really satisfying. Now, this is going to be heavy, what I'm going to say, but I would never, ever be able to close out the Verzi effect without talking about this. The fact that soldiers and lots of soldiers that were fighting in our country were listening to the Verzi effect. I was on the road once and I have something here. It's up there hanging up. It says, oh, let me get rid of this. It says, put them in a cage, because I would call people animals. I would say, you guys are a bunch of fucking animals. And I'll never forget the platoon. There was a platoon in Germany. There was a platoon in the mountains somewhere in another country. And they ended up naming the platoon the Animals. And each of them had a name of an animal. And it was because of me and this podcast. And like some of them were fighting, like bullets flying by. And these guys are in fucking tanks. And they're going, the Verzi effect, we just laugh at you. And you just help pass time. That's what this show did. I don't give a fuck if there was only 5 people listening to this show and the 5 people were in that platoon. That means more to me than anything in the world. The fact that soldiers that are willing to fight, willing to die for America, which I still think is so underappreciated and disgraceful how they get treated, but that's a story for another podcast. But the fact that that's the case and they were listening to this show, a platoon, and they sent me a picture of them standing in front of the tank in a fucking mountain, and they all had names of an animal. They all had names of an animal because the platoon was called the Animals. and they all had an animal name because of watching and listening to the Virzi effect. That to me, guys, is insanity. That I could make a soldier who's away from his wife and kids and family and home and being fucking alone and unsure and doing that means, I mean, that's all you could ever fucking ask for in this business, period. So, thank you to them and anybody that I passed time to and you said, man, you just helped me get through the day. I was listening to you rant about shit and you're right. The nice thing is women too. More women listen to Bone to Pick than the Verzi effect. But I had some women come up and go, he just doesn't stop listening to you. I don't even know you when I hear your voice in the morning. And to be honest with you, I can't stand it. I guess I guess I appreciate you too. But yeah, there's something to be said about helping people and making people laugh. And yeah, I would riff and go off on things, you know. People would get mad. I try to be, I'll give you guys an example of what this show is. Okay. And some of you are gonna get mad right now, but I'm gonna tell you what this show is. All right. What this show was, and you guys can say, yeah, well, that was pretty much Verzi. That was pretty much TVE. I can't wait to listen to Paul's Best Podcast. Uh, you better subscribe to my YouTube channel. I mean, if you're listening to this and you haven't clicked the subscribe button to my YouTube channel, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Um, but I was on stage in Chicago, and you guys know, if you listen to me, you know that I don't hate Trump and I don't hate Elon Musk and I don't hate, I didn't hate Kamala Harris. I just thought she was a horrible, horrible candidate. I really did. I thought that there were people on the left that could have, like, that should have been there, that probably could have won. But when I see, like, you know, so I was basically on stage, long story short, and this was never a political show, but I'm on stage and I'm talking and I'm going like, look, I, you know how you knew Kamala Harris was a bad candidate? When Oprah and Anderson Cooper were giving her like just setting her up softball questions. Spike the volleyball. It's right there. Go get it. And she couldn't. And they were looking at her like, is this chick fucking for real? Like, so I'm just talking about that. The crowd's laughing. I could see some people getting upset. But then I also said, guys, but if I'm being real, and I like Elon Musk, and I don't mind Trump, okay? These aren't, I don't love, but like these aren't, people that I hate the way some people hate them. I said, that being said, Elon Musk's salute did not look good. Okay. It just didn't. He pounded his chest and then he did a fucking slice. When you do the slice, it's a little fucked up. Now, do I think that he's pro-Nazi and white supremacist? I'm not saying that. But I'm saying you can't tell me the way that looked wasn't maybe him trolling people, but he did something on that. That was a little extra. That wasn't like, oh my God, thank you. That wasn't like, oh my God, thank you. That shit to me seemed like a fucking hardcore, yeah, I hear what you guys say about me. Fuck you, we won. Maybe he trolled and did that, but I just had to say that. And then I turned it into, this is the sequel. Now there's two of them. If you hate Trump, this is the sequel. Now there's another villain, with him and I'm making fun of it. And everybody is laughing and understanding that, I don't hate the guy, but I thought that was a little fucking over the top. That's just who I was and what the show is. Now, some people are going to get mad. No, he's just retarded. That's what people say. Oh, he's like retarded. I'm like, yeah, all right. I mean, can we stop saying that? Can people stop saying that Elon Musk is, retarded or whatever? I mean, it's like, he's not that he knows how to get to Mars. The guy's not that much of a like people almost go, like it's almost like when you like him, he's a genius. When and if he does something you don't like, you're like, oh well, he's stupid. It's like, no, man, he's not stupid. The guy knows how to get to Mars and how many miles per hour it's going to take and how long it's going to take, and we could have a civilization there. I mean, if you know that, you're not that fucking stupid. You know, you can't have it both ways. Anyway, that's what this show was, and I hope that people took it. This show could have been called In the Gray because it's not just black and white. There you go. Maybe that's a special in the future. In the Gray. That's what the Virzi Effect podcast was. I'm trying to think of some other moments on the show that were one moment on the show. I don't know if you guys will remember this, and I'm just going down memory lane. So if this is boring you to death, I am sorry. This is almost for me to just do a send off the proper way of this show. But I don't remember, I don't know if you guys remember the one where I was crying laughing. I was crying laughing because I saw a clip of a bunch of people running a marathon like through the streets or through the, I'm sorry, through the country. But they were like on a road going up a hill, almost like Forrest Gump. And there were like all these people running, and this dog ended up, I mean, I don't know where it is. This is probably so many years ago. So I don't know what episode, but there was a dog that saw all of these people running and just, you know, the way when a dog sees you run, they start running with you, but the dog just never stopped because they never stopped. And I was fucking crying, laughing, thinking of this dog going like, when is this going to end? Why am I? Because he was in a marathon and he didn't even realize it. And it was just like, he ran for, he he ran, he ran for miles because there were just packs and packs of people running, and he just had to keep running with them. And I remember being on the show, and I was crying, laughing, thinking about it to the point where I couldn't gather myself. So that, that was a memory that I had because I'm just thinking of this poor dog that thought it might be just a quick thing. And next thing you know, he's running like 20 miles or whatever. And he ended up so far away from home. But like memories like that of the show, for sure. Um, my buddy, the Shakespeare is shit in his bed, and then the wife thinking it was her or whatever. I mean, that was just an absolute classic on the show. Um, yeah, there's been a bunch of somebody who saw the time traveler and said that they saw the same thing. Then I got somebody who said something about military. I don't even want to talk about it because I was told I shouldn't talk about it. But there's been a lot of moments out here. Also, the unfortunate thing when a dude threw a glass bottle at me in Indianapolis, and it smashed into the wall, and the heel of it bent into the, like, stuck in the wall. He fucking fastballed a bottle at me, and it ended up the heel of the hard part of like the heel of it ended up sticking in the wall so it didn't break. And then I ended up signing it as an autograph for somebody at the end. I did an hour after that. I'll never forget that one. So there are certain episodes that really, like, stick out. The first time Pete Davidson did my podcast, he was about 18 years old, and he told the story of his life. This was when I think he just started getting on MTV. He had not gone on Saturday Night Live yet. And people were like, "Who is that young kid?" And I was like, "No, man, that kid, you're gonna see that kid doing some things." And having him on the show, I believe twice, and of course Bill Burr on the show. One of my dearest friends did episode, I believe, 200 with Joe Bartnick. So yeah, I mean, and if there's memories that you guys have and you like, let me know, hit me up with it. But and then there were some rants where I lost my mind on here. Telling the story of the homeless guy. I gave the guy homeless 20, and he said, "This isn't enough." And I was like, I hope it rains tonight. He gets COVID and die. Like, I mean, I didn't mean that die, but like, yeah, there were definitely some definite rants where people are like, "Oh my God, I love the ranting and all that." So the show has just been has been amazing. And a lot of you guys came out to my specials, whether it was Terrytown Music Hall or whether it was Levity Live in the Palisades Mall, or and or Chicago, at the Den Theater in Chicago. So yeah, man, it's been, and also to the fans listening to us that are overseas. I know there's some Irish guy going, "Oh, fuck off with this sentimental shit." By the way, happy Patty's Day to everybody. You fucking animals puking on a train. I got to tell you something. St. Patrick's Day, and I'm not trying to be a dick here. I understand going into a pub, getting some corned beef and cabbage, and putting some corned beef on bread, on rye bread, with like Swiss cheese and some mustard, and having yourself a pint of Guinness, 2 or 3 pints of Guinness, going home with the buzz and calling it a night. I'll give you that. But these people, like, let's do a bar crawl. Let's do a pub crawl. We'll start at noon. We're going to end at 8 o'clock. That's just like when you're throwing up in the streets. When you're throwing up in the streets and you're all, I mean, what are you doing here? What are you doing here? But anyway, going back to the thing. Anybody, dude, the people that listen to this, London, you are on the short list of the next special along with Australia. I want to do it in Australia. It's going to be a long flight with a big crew. Another option is London. I think the next one will definitely be in Europe. And but all you people listening, I see that there's definitely people Canada, London, Croatia. There's people listening in Australia, New Zealand, all these different places, man. Thank you, thank you, thank you for listening to the Virzi Effect. Please come over to Paul's Best Podcast. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be fun. Best of all, and most of all, it's going to be positive, and it's going to be only talking about the best shit of all over. You may hear us even talk about shit where you're at, in your country, best foods, the best, all that stuff. And no offense, but corned beef and cabbage is not going to be on there. Listen, I got to be honest with you. I'll tell you guys a story real quick. My wife, my wife is seven things. Okay, Stacy is seven things. Stacy is Swedish. She is Finnish. She is German. She is English. She is Irish. She's French Canadian, and one other thing. Okay, so she's got all that. A lot of white shit in there. Me, I'm Sicilian and Greek 50-50. So my kids get the Mediterranean from me, but they get the whitewash, as I call it, from Stacy. Now, Stacy decorates the house. She's one of those where it's like after a holiday, all the holiday decorations come down and the next holiday. So we went from hearts and pink and reds and hearts and fucking what's the thing? The fucking kid that shoots the arrows for love. You know what the fuck the little kid in a diaper shooting the angel in a diaper shooting a fucking anyway, you got that. Now those come down and now you have shamrocks and green and leprechauns and pots of gold and green, blah blah blah. And she was like, I'm making a St. Patrick's Day supper for us. And she's like, it's going to be corned beef, it's going to be cabbage, it's going to be potatoes, and it's going to be carrots and all that stuff. I'm like, cool, She bought some Guinnesses. We go home, and I got to tell you, I wasn't thrilled. I wasn't thrilled. I would have been like, hey, man, let's get, I don't even know, let's eat some French fries and call it a fucking Irish meal, whatever. She made homemade French fries, which were incredible. And then my wife does what my wife did. She took what she did and she took it to another level. She got this spicy mustard for the corned beef. She's got this rye bread. So you're almost making like a Reuben, but it's with corned beef. So you put the rye bread toasted, obviously on the bottom with corned beef all over it. And then you melt Swiss cheese on it and you put a bunch of spicy mustard. She made homemade French fries with that, guys. It was now you needed all that shit to soup it up. Because let's be honest, if it's just corned beef and mustard, it's good. But please don't try putting that anywhere near lasagna, anywhere near pasta, anywhere near any of that stuff. You could say it's good, but when corned beef and potatoes are at the top of your top list, it's not great. It was delicious though. She killed it. And it was a nice St. Patty's Day. She had her Guinness, and there you go. So now we go to Easter and just more candy and shit. Guys, I'm still dealing with the gummy bear epidemic in the Virzi house. There's bags of candy. I find it, I search for it, and it's a problem. That's never going to change. Okay. But yeah. Anyway, what talking about that, I was basically talking about the people overseas who listen to the Virzi effect. Thank you so much. I'm trying to think. There was also advice that I would give on relationships. There was that. I remember that too. I don't know if I gave any good advice. I remember one time, I can't remember exactly what it was, but I think that there was a guy who showed up to a party and his friends were assholes, and I think the girl was an issue too. And I told him that she wasn't right. I don't know where he is. I don't know who that was, but I hope that worked out for you because that, that was something. That was something for sure. I probably ruined some guy's relationship early in the podcast when I didn't know how to podcast. I'm like, she's a bitch. You deserve better. Meanwhile, he was probably an alcoholic or a drug addict, and she was just giving him shit for it. And then he writes into the show. That would really. He's in therapy, like, yeah, the one I got away, man. If Paul Verzi fucking ruined it. Um, I'm just trying to think of anything else that was the moment. I definitely think I mentioned the ones that really stick out. I think there's one more that was like, oh, that one was the craziest one. But yeah, the throwing shit at me, there was no alien shit, right? No, no. So anyway, that those were the things that those are the things that I remember. I know that there was some meltdowns about the Knicks. Hopefully Jalen Brunson gets better. I don't like how Cat plays defense. That's the problem with the Knicks. I think that that's what's can hurt them, but you never know. Mitchell Robinson's back. Yankees, who fucking knows? They keep getting hurt. And there you go, man. That's pretty much it. So guys, for the last time on the TVE podcast, thank you, thank you, thank you. Words cannot express it. It's corny, it's cliche, but it's true. I turned on the lights and the microphone, and this is for you. I had the guests on for you, and I wanted to give you guys entertainment, and I wanted you guys to see me in a different light than just on stage and just with the clips. I hope I did that. I hope I did a good job of it. And I hope you guys will be fans for life. And I hope when you guys see me at a comedy club, you come in. Because the one thing I will promise all of you is if you do see me in the club, or you do see me in a theater, or you do see me at a venue on stage with a microphone, I will give you my best. I promise. I will stop doing this when that's not the case. And, I don't think it'll ever be the case as long as I actually show up and want to do this. So, um, thank you so much. I want to thank Andrew Themlis, who stuck with me through this. He reached out to me right around the beginning of pandemic saying, I think we can take the show further. I want to be a part of the show. I want to help you grow with the show. He is the Beverly Hills Kid. He is uh, our friendship transcends the business. Andrew Themlis and I mean, listen, let's be honest. The kid's Greek too. I mean, it's never hurts. But he is the one that cuts the show. He's the one that edits the show. When there were clips of the show, it was all him. And he's going to be doing the same thing for Paul's Best Podcast. I love you guys. Please come out and see me. Check out paulvirzi.com. Okay. And I hope I gave you guys what you guys gave me, and come and see me on Paul's Best. Also, check out Bone to Pick. And yes, me and Bill Burr will be doing football picks again for anything better. Hopefully, we'll be able to do something before the NFL season starts again to get it going, to ease up into it. And obviously, you guys will be seeing Paul's Best Podcast this spring. And I have a tour going on right now. Go to paulvirzi.com. Come up to me, say what's up. There's no fucking COVID. There's none of that shit. So it's all meet and greets now. It's all, hey, if I haven't been to your city since COVID a couple years ago, come up, say what's up. If you listen to the show, all that. Thank you guys so much. This has been the last Virzi Effect. I hope you enjoyed this show as much as I did. And get ready for the new one, because it's going to be bigger and it's going to be better. I will see you guys in late April, early May, and you'll be seeing me on other podcasts as well. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. I love you all. Pittsburgh, Cleveland this week, and then Tempe, San Diego, Denver next week. I will talk to you guys soon. Reasonable Man streaming right now on YouTube. Take care.